Let's see. Hello, everyone. I'm going to let a few more people come in. Let's see if you can type in the chat if you're here and let me know if the sound and the video and everything is set up well. And then we'll get started. Let's see here. I see people popping in. That's awesome. Today I'm going to be crafting with the pineapple lattice stencil that came out in the Hello Summer release. And those look like this. Let me get it flipped correctly. Like this. So I'm going to be crafting and doing a background with this. Hello, hello. Hey, Mari. Ezzy says the sound is good. It's good. Good. Okay, cool. And then I am going to be, for the images, using the new freshly picked stamp and die set. Mainly for my card, I'm going to use all of the coordinating dies. So that's going to be a fun kind of mix-up because usually we go straight to the stamped images. I am going to show you what some of these images look like when they are stamped out. And so these are kind of fun to play with, especially with the solids. I'm really digging just sitting at my craft table and trying different variations of ink colors and blends and things like that. Hey, Carol. There's Susie, Frosted Peppermint. Hello, hello. So everybody is popping in. So we're going to try to make this a weekly just kind of craft and relax and all of us chat. I can kind of keep up with the chat a little bit better here because I'm only reading from one chat group. So hello, hello. Let's see. Miss Jane and Mayhem, Crafty Cards. I love that name. Olivia. Where did you get the little bucket? This one. It's actually, you're gonna laugh. It's an antique or vintage Jello mold. So you find these at like Goodwill, thrift stores, any place like yard sales, and I use them to keep, I've got them all over my desk and use them to keep my little die cuts in. Or I put water and use it to watercolor. So hello from Australia, Miss Michelle. Hey, Lori. Love the freshly picked stamp set. Cool, Ezzy. So that, yep, that's what I'm going to be playing with today. So while everybody's still popping in, I'm going to show you how cool these stamps are. And I've got the coordinating dies all tucked into my little package. And I'm going to start out with the solid images in this set. And let me find my paper. Okay, so I've just got some plain old white cardstock. And I'm going to be doing a card with the lemon today. So let's ink up the lemon. And I'm going to show you some fun ways, or the way that I get a kind of cool blend with ink colors. So this is Squeezed Lemonade Distress Oxide ink. And I'm going to ink the lemon up just all over the front like that. And you can see it's blotchy. It's okay. It's not going to matter in the end. And then I'm going to take my little finger daubers. You could use the edge of the ink pad if you wanted to and just very carefully kind of blend your ink there. But I'm going to ink on just a little bit of spiced marmalade and just pull it right around the edges like so. And I could even go in with, let's see here, I need a yellow. My yellow, and just soften that up just a little bit. And that's what's going to give you your kind of cool ink blend on there. And also using the little daubers or something, that's what's going to smooth out the ink and kind of spread it evenly over the surface of your solid stamps. So you get a nice coverage there. Okay, I'm just going to use a little bit of green, and I'm going to ink up the little tiny stem there. And now my lemon is ready to stamp. And I do like to hold it and press it just a second. It's just in my own mind, it makes me feel like it's getting seeped into that paper. And then I'm going to pull that up, and then you can immediately see how cute that is blended with those inks just right there on that solid stamp. So if you like to die cut, there are 2 different types of dies in the Freshly Picked stamp set, Raise a Glass, and let's see, which one did I use last night? And it's already escaped. Oh, the Luau. That's the one I used last night. So there's 2 different types of dies. There's one that's going to be like your more traditional die that's going to cut and leave that white outline that we're all used to around the edge. And it's going to be a little bit larger. Let me show you the smaller die. And I should have pulled these out, and I did not. Okay. And then there is a smaller die. Let me hold these up so you can see them. So you can see the size difference between the 2. So the larger one is going to leave that outline border. So that's what you would typically see when we die cut our images. And then the smaller one is going to cut right up against that edge, and it's not going to leave any kind of border. So it's just whatever your preference is, or whatever you're going for the look of your project. Let me show you some examples. I've got a whole little bag here. So let's see here. Let's take the strawberry, for example. So this would be the larger, or what's going to cut out and leave that outline around the edge. And then there's also pieces of that strawberry that are going to cut right up against the edge. And then it's also going to cut out the leaves separately, so you can pop that up and add dimension or whatever you would like on that. So it's kind of fun to have the options, both with the stamps, so you've got those detailed images, and then with the dies as well. So you can play with that either with the outline or without. Let me pull out. Here is a lemon that has the outline, so you can see what that looks like when it's cut with that larger die. And then I also have a lemon that used the smaller die, and then you can see where it has cut right around the edges, and there's none of that outline. So it's just a fun. Here's a pear that doesn't have the outline around the edge. So super fun. Let's see. Yes, so Frosted Peppermint saying that having the option, and that's exactly what Melissa likes to do when she designs these, is she likes to provide different options. So you may be doing a different kind of project where you don't want that kind of cutesy edge around the side. And so these dies give you the option of not having to do that and not having to fussy cut. So that's a big plus in my book. So let's stamp one more of these solid images, and then we can get into making a card. I'm going to do a lemon card today. Oops. Okay. And I am going to stamp the pear. So I'm going to use a little bit of Twisted Citron, and I'm going to go all over the base of that pear, or that solid image, even right there in the middle. And remember, it doesn't matter if it's perfectly smooth yet. I'm going to smooth it all out. And then I'm going to take again that spice marmalade, and I'm going to give it the look that pears have when they kind of have that kind of orangey, pinky look to the edges. And again, I'm going to smooth it out. And then I think I'm going to also add a little bit of crushed olive Let's add some and deepen that kind of right there towards the top. Maybe right there. Okay, now let's stamp it and see what we get for the pear. Let's see, the name of this stamp set, Olivia, is called Freshly Picked. Okay, and you can see how cool that pear turned out with all the different color variation there. So that is fun. Okay. And then I like the option of having, we were talking about options with the dies. I love the option of having the solid stamps and then those detail images. So if you want to do a project and do all of your Copic coloring or colored pencils or watercolors or whatever, you have that. But then you also have the option in this set to do all of your ink blending and stuff right on the surface of the stamp. So that's another fun one. Okay, today I am going to be building my card with a lot of those die cuts, and I'm actually going to use both the, what we would call the outline, that leaves the outline around the edge, and then what cuts the inside. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently. First, to get my background started, I am going to use this pineapple lattice cover plate die, and I'm going to blend a background that's going to go with my card. Let's see here. All right. I've got my cardstock. I'm just starting with white cardstock. Now I like to, and you can do this any way you want to in playing with these. I like to blend on my lightest color with whichever stencil has the most area that's going to need the ink. So this stencil in the set has the finer details, and you can see all the open space. So I know I want to blend kind of lightly over this one because I'm going to add my darker details with this one. Today I'm going to mix it up a little bit and do a really light green and then try to pop in some yellow. So we'll see how that works. I am going to lightly mist my stencil with some pixie spray, and I just like to hold it over my trash can. And that way all those fine little details of that stencil are going to stay put. And these stencils, if you haven't seen these, they do have those nice little etched lines around the edges. So it makes it a lot easier to, one, line up your cardstock and make it sure it's all straight. But then again, if you're going to use both layers, it just helps you to get everything lined up. Okay, I'm going to take that. Let's see. No, I'm not. I'm going to take a different color ink. And this is one that's going to go with the cardstock that I'm using on my lemons. And I'm going to rub quite a bit off because I'm going to make it very kind of light green in the background. And I'm using my Honeybee Stamps blending brushes and just running it back and forth. And these brushes are really nice. The heads of these are really packed with those nice bristles. And so it helps to get down into all the little nooks and crannies of these stencils. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to peel that back, and then you're going to see that fun kind of pineapple-y shape background. So that was the inspiration for this stencil set, is kind of the look and the texture on the outside or the skin of a pineapple. And so that is fun. I'm going to pair it today with lemons, but you... Okay, now for this look, let me show you some examples. and it's kind of hard to see. If you're going to use the stencil set like as is and layer it like a pineapple like it was designed, I'm going to hold this really close. You can see that yellow back there behind, and then how those squatty kind of diamonds nestle into the parts of those little pineapple pieces. Today, when I use my stencil, I'm going to offset it a little bit, and I'm going to put those squatty diamonds on the in-between. So I'm actually going to spray my stencil, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to get kind of right over the top of this so I can place those little diamond pieces exactly where I want them. And you can kind of see the little white areas right there. That's where I'm going to put my yellow ink this time. Okay. All right, let's see here. I'm going to use a very light, buttery colored ink. And I want to make sure I'm going to rub my brush off just a little bit because I've been playing with stencils today. There we go. All right. Getting my brush really good and juicy. And then I'm just going to go right in. And you can start to see that yellow already pop out in those little squatty diamond pieces. And I'm going to keep just working that yellow ink into those little diamonds. Let's see here. And I'm really adding a lot of pressure here because it is that yellow going over the green. And because yellow is a little bit lighter sometimes when you play with inks, I'm really pressing down on the head of my brush to really get that ink in there. I want that yellow to pop out. Okay. Let's do that. Clean up my little inky messes here. And then let's peel this back and see exactly what we have now for our background. Okay. And so you can see what a cool design we get just by offsetting those little diamonds just a little bit. And so again, with options, it gives you several different options. You can either line it up the way that it was designed to look like a pineapple, or you can offset those and get a totally different look for your backgrounds. Okay, let's see here. Thank you, Miss Carol. All right, I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to go ahead and set up my card base. And I apologize, this paper trimmer is ginormous, but my little one that I normally use needs a new blade. So I'm going to trim this down to 5 1/4 by 4. And I didn't trim this down. I don't like to trim my pieces that I'm going to ink blend. I don't like to trim them first because sometimes the edges get a little weird and wonky, and I like to trim all that off. So this way, by trimming it after you do the ink blending, you kind of get rid of any weird edges that you might have left after you've done that ink blending. Okay. All right, so now I've got my little panel here, my background, all ready to go. And I'm just going to add that to a white top folding card base because I want my little fruits and my background and everything to be the star of the show here. Before I lay that, I'm going to take that just for a little clean. All right. Thank you, Miss Mari and Rochelle. All right, let's see here. So let's pop this little guy on here. And I like that little bit of a white border right around the edge. And you can do your design either which way, and it looks super cute either way, up or down. So I like that. Okay, now I'm going to start playing with my die cuts. Okay, so today I'm not doing any stamping and coloring. I am only playing with the coordinating dies from that freshly picked set. And you can see I have cut a bunch of lemons, or what are going to be lemons. And so for that larger die that leaves the background, I've cut it all in green. And then my lemon in a lemony yellow cardstock. And then I'm just going to pop those up on there. And it kind of gives it a fun look. And it's a good way to get more use out of your dies, because we all reach for our stamps and like to color and things like that. But with the different options in that die set, it's just one more fun way to get use out of our coordinating dies. So I'm going to start building up 3 little lemons that are going to look just like that. And so here is what's going to be my base layer. And to pop those up, I'm going to add just a couple of little foam dots. Here and there. And I am going to add a little bit more personality to my lemons, so it's not just yellow cardstock stuck down on there. I am going to take a green, let's see, how about this one? And I am going to use a piece of scratch paper and slip it right through there. I should have done that beforehand, but I'm just going to green up the stem right there on the end of my lemon. And then I'm going to add some, for a little bit of character, I'm going to add some Nuvo drops to my lemons. Let's go ahead and ink these up so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, and then I'm going to get these adhered as well. Okay, does anybody have any questions so far about like the solid stamps or the different options in the dies or the stencils? Pop up my little lemon here. There we go. And then I'm going to do one more. Let's see here. Carol Dufresne. You're not late, Carol. We're just crafting and chatting a little bit. This is kind of relaxed over here. Let's see, there's Robin. Reading everybody's names. Pop on my little lemon. Okay, so I've got my little lemons, and you can see this one where I have added those cute little drops to the bottom. I just did that with 2 different colors of Nuvo drops. So the first one is in ripened pumpkin, and this is the crystal drop kind. You know, Nuvo has several different kinds of drops now. And then the yellow is the vintage drop line. And I know that the screen is flipped, and I apologize for that. But the color is Yellow Brick Road. And so I'm going to very carefully do a few little fun drops just to add a little bit of texture and character. You could also pull out your stamp set and add the detail stamps back onto these images. Let's do some right up here. And then let's do one more. There are also some images in the coordinating stamp set that has what would be some little dimension pieces. Let me look for it. The little spots. So it looks like this right here. So if you wanted to ink that up and just stamp it directly onto your die cuts or your stamped images to add some details back in, those are also provided in that stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to take out my orange now. Oh, it's not flipped for you. Okay, cool. Maybe it's just on my end that it's done that. And I'm just very, very extremely lightly like kissing that little juicy spot there on the end to my paper because I want them to stay pretty small. Okay, and I'm going to hold this up and you guys, I'll show you how I'm doing it. So I'm just barely squeezing it out and kind of holding it with my fingers and then barely touching that little piece that's dripping out of the bottle to the die cut. And then that's how I get those little spots. Just like so. Okay, so let's do the last one. Okay, and now I'm done. I'm going to set those aside, and while I am messing around with the rest of my card building, I'm going to let those drops kind of set up and dry. Does Honeybee Stamps have any discount codes this month? Lisa or Melissa is answering that right now. So when you see that where Honeybee Stamps is answering, that is probably Miss Lisa. Okay, so I have taken a just white piece of cardstock and it's cut to 2 inches. I wanted some extra character because just putting a white piece of paper down here and having it all flat just wasn't doing it for me. So I put this into my little score buddy and I just scored 2 little stripes on either end. And so that gave me just enough character there to not just be a flat piece of white paper. I'm going to take my Mini Misty and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment onto my little piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to use the sentiment that kind of coordinates with that stamp set, and it's called Perfect Sentiments. And I'm going to use this, I Could Just Squeeze You. I thought that would be super cute with the lemon die cuts. This could go to a friend. This would be great to give to your spouse or significant other. And I'm going to set that right over on the side. I am going to stand up just for a second and get everything kind of zhuzhed around and lined up. And I kind of like that, right? Like so. So I'm going to close the door. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Versify ink because I just love the crisp blackness of this ink. Okay. Make sure everything is nestled back down in there. And then close my door. And I'm just lightly kind of running my finger over that. And then let's see what we get back here. Okay, so perfect. You can see how cute that little sentiment is. I love these fonts. This kind of fun, whimsical script fonts is perfect with the cute little front images. Okay, I'm going to set this here and let that Versify dry. I'm going to start working on my leaves. I've already started some of them, but this are the, I just used the dyes for the leaves in this stamp set. So I just took out the dyes. I cut a different color of green cardstock because I didn't want it to get lost in the green of the lemons here. So I've cut a different color green, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get a little bit of dimension for your little, either it's a floral die cut or little leaves or anything like this. So it's super easy peasy. You're just going to take your leaf, and depending on which way you want your leaf or your petal to curl, excuse me. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to use a stylus. And I'm going to just not very carefully, actually, run over that You can see it's all nicely curled up there on my little pad. And then I kind of just pull it back out just a little bit. And you can see how that's going to give some dimension. And it also has the little creases and lines in there. So it kind of acts as the texture and the veins and stuff back into those leaves. So again, I'm going to flip it, just run my stylus over the top, and then again, just kind of work it back out just a little bit. There we go. So you can do that with any of your like floral die cuts, all of our bouquet builders. This would be awesome to do with. And that little push pad and stylus are available at honeybeestamps.com. Don't stand again, Kelly. Oh, okay. Whoops. The gremlins didn't like it. Oh, mercy. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start getting everything done here. Let's add my little sentiment. And I think, does everything look good now, Lisa? I don't know what made it do that. I'm going to pop this up just a little bit, and I trim this down so it's only going to cover that inked background. It's not going to go all the way out to the edges. And I can't stand up, so we don't want the gremlins to come back. So I'm going to hold it up like this. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to tap that foam tape down. Let's see, where can you get the stylus? That is all at honeybeestamps.com. If you'll go into, it's either like supplies, accessories, something like that. And I bet Lisa could probably help us on here, tell us. I know Melissa has those in the store. Okay, so now I'm going to start taking my lemons and I'm going to adhere these. Now, when I adhere my lemons, because I've already popped the top of my lemons up, I'm just going to adhere those flat. And I'm going to use just some of our liquid glue. Okay, and I'm going to have this one going kind of this direction. And I think I'm only going to use 2 of the lemons because I think it would be fun to send this to a friend and just have the 2 lemons like a pair. So I'm going to do that. And again, I'm going to just put a little bit of liquid glue on this little guy. And then I'm going to nestle him or her right down like so and kind of have it hang off the top. Okay, now let's play with our leaves that we curled up. Okay, thank you so much. Lisa has added some options there, and there's a link right in the chat. So whoever asked about the stylus and the little pad, Lisa has helped us out there. I'm going to add some little leaves here and there. And you can see how cute this is looking. I think this is actually a strawberry leaf, but I like the shape of it. So I'm going to just add it right on. I don't even care. Let's see. Let's add this guy right back in here. And let's see, maybe one more kind of small leaf. Okay. Now you can see how cute that is. And it's all, there's no stamping other than the sentiment. So it's all done with just those coordinating dies. Okay, so let's do a few of our little drops right around the sentiment, and then let's call it done. Actually, you know what? Let's use some of our new gems, if I can locate them. We have 2 new paper pads, and then we have the coordinating gems that go with those. Yahoo, I found them. Okay, so we've got a Hot Tropics paper pad, And then we also have the beach vibes, and I'm going to pull out the gems from the Hot Tropics because they're going to be so fun with this bright green and yellow. And I'm going to take my little pin blade, and then I'm just going to pick these up and then set them right down on there. Ooh, I like that kind of citron-y green there. I think I'm going to use that one. So let's tuck one just like so. And let me see about if I like the yellow. Oh, I like that one better. There, and maybe one more green. And let's tuck that little guy, maybe even right there. Okay, I'm going to call it good there. I've got all my little dots going on to make my fruit look like it has a little texture and a little juicy. And I did that with the Nuvo drops. These are at honeybeestamps.com as well. Melissa has a large selection of the Nuvo products. So that is there. And then, of course, let's talk about, for those of you that are just popping in, those pineapple lattice stencils. That's how I created the colorful background. And it's a 2 stencil set. So it goes like so, and you can see how it's going to look like kind of that skin or the peel of a pineapple. And you could totally use it by itself. This would be beautiful by itself. It's so delicate and beautiful, and what a fun design. It's something different. You could use this by itself, would be a really cool design with those little kind of squatty squish diamonds. Or you can do like what I have done, and I have offset the design. And that's how I got the yellow in the center of the green there. Okay, and then of course, we can't forget, we use the die cuts from the freshly picked coordinating die set. So remember, it's got the different options on sizes of the dies. So you can cut with that outline right around the edge, or you can cut really close up. So that's a really neat design feature there, or an option for you. And then the super cute sentiment that we stamped, I could just squeeze you, is from the Pear Fixed Sentiments. This one has a lot of great ones. And some of them are not just the fruity kind of stuff. So you've got To the Sweetest Friend, which you can use all year long. You're Sweet Inside and Out, you could use with anything. Hello, Life is Sweeter with You, you could use with anything. To My Main Squeeze, yes, it sounds kind of fruity, but that would be great on your spouse's birthday card or an anniversary card, anything like that. There's also a Thinking of You. So this Perfect Sentiment set not only goes with the fruit, it kind of goes with everything. So that's a fun one. And then, of course, I don't want to forget our gems. So we have Hot Tropics and then Beach Vibes. And the coordinating paper pads, everything blends and coordinates perfectly with the gems. Let's see here. The pre-clip dies. Yes, everything that you get from now on are going to come pre-clipped. Now, let's say that you order something that was released a year ago, and for some reason we still have inventory of that. So if you do that, you may not get the pre-clipped ones, and that's just because we're just clearing out all of that. But anytime that Melissa has to order new dies from the manufacturer, they're going to come to her pre-clipped. So I hope that makes sense. Yes, the gems, Miss Kristen, are even more beautiful in person. You can see how pretty and sparkly they are, and they really do match perfectly with the paper pads. Let me see if here they are. So let me show you how well they go. This is Hot Tropics. You can see all those beautiful, hot, yummy gemstone colors. And you can see the gems are going to match perfectly with all of the papers. So you've got your greens, You've got the yellows here that are going to go with the fruit and with the little wood grains. It even goes over into the oranges and pinks. And then she's even added some basic black. So those are fun. And then here is beach vibes. So we've got all this beautiful beachy colored paper. And then we've got the gems that are going to match. Everything from sandy color to like grays and almost a brown. She's added some kind of clear iridescent and white. And then, of course, those beautiful watercolored gems. So everything's going to coordinate perfectly. Yes, the paper is so fun. And they're really nice paper. So you're going to get 2 of each pattern. And they're also front and back. So I hoard this paper and then I end up having to order 2 or 3 more pads. Now, because I do so much work for Honeybee, I go through a lot of the paper, but it's awesome paper. It's awesome cardstock. Yes, Miss Carol saying the beach paper is one she just wants to add. The beach one is super fun because you can do a whole scene from what's just in the paper pad. You could do a whole beach scene and use this as your background, add some of our cute little flip-flops or something to it, and then you've got your whole card right there just by using the paper pad. There's several designs in this one that could go for that. How beautiful would this be for a sky? Let's see here. Of course, we've got shells and what looks like shiplap. Some great geometrics. Again, here's a beautiful one that would be a beautiful beach scene. Let's see here. Basket, the sand. So if you have our new sandcastle builder dies, that would be beautiful. Oh, that one's just gorgeous. I'm going to have a hard time cutting that one up. Here's another scene, and this one matches the A7 beach scene cover plate die. You can clip this down or you could even do a big 6x6 inch card and have that and do your beach scene right on there. That would be adorable. So you can see all the fun options in the beach vibes. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions today before I hop off here and go see what my children are getting into? All right, you guys, if you've enjoyed this, make sure that you subscribe and give us a thumbs up. That lets us know that you would like to see more of these live streams on our YouTube channel. We're really close to reaching that 10,000 subscriber mark. And so we would love to have you guys come and join in with us and chat once a week or as often as we can. And we appreciate you being here. Talk to you next time, guys.